Our board shares a very strong conviction, and that is that our country deserves a closer look at how democracies fulfill their promise. Where do we find the truth of the matter, the facts in the case? What are the forces that threaten our understanding of or broad-mindedness around an issue? And why is the instinct for mutual respect lost to anger and disconnect sometimes? And most of all, how do we fix it? So we, again, the Athens Chautauqua Society, want the youth of our community to be fully engaged in the world they're inheriting from us.
Out of the tradition of social studies or civic education that's kind of critical and progressive, and to come from that camp of my discipline, I guess, would put you in kind of a reformist position.
When I came to Georgia in 1972, I'm old, and I taught in the adult education graduate program from 1981 until the year 2000. I taught my students some things about Chautauqua because in adult education, we of course feel that the Chautauqua movement was a critical movement in adult education because people were going around the country and, as someone earlier said, setting up their tents and trying to teach people all kinds of things about our democracy. I think connection immediately to this project is because Peter Balsamo gets your phone number and your email address, and that's it. You're hooked. You're in. And Todd and I, of course, are colleagues, but Todd I really know because my son, who is called, I'm very proud to say, the Director of Innovation in the College of Education, has repeatedly said to me, you must meet Todd. You just have to know him. So I feel connected to all of you. My immediate connection to this project is that I am one of the pioneers, that's what we get called, for the National Issues Forum. So when David Matthews and people at the Kettering Foundation were bringing people together in 1981, 40 years ago, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary, I had the opportunity representing adult education to think about how we established the National Issues Forum, which was because of David Matthews, who Christopher is a graduate of Columbia and became the Secretary of HEW during the Ford administration. He felt that, I think really coming out of that work and perhaps some that experience, he had been the president of the University of Alabama before Gerald Ford asked him to serve in the cabinet. David felt that the American public was not engaged as they should be in conversations about public policy issues. And so I have been having the good fortune with Peter and Todd to talk about how we prepare people to moderate forums that are deliberative and not debates, meaning that people entertain opinions about public policy issues and we really emphasize as much the listening to one another as the speaking.
Most powerful ways for future teachers to learn about the power of discourse or conversation in teaching is to experience it themselves.
We could teach people how to hold conversations where we can value facts and where we can value people's stories.
My name is Christopher Riano. I am the president for the nation's Center for Civic Education, which works both around both the country and the world to work within the civic education and then the constitutional education space. And so I've actually been really interested and excited to see some of the work that folks are talking about here, because there's really no question in my mind that we're at a time in our history where a civic and constitutional education is really core, no matter what age you are. I get to talk about 1787, and I get to talk about 1776, and I get to talk about 1950 and 1950. I mean, I get to talk about history, but then I also get to work on, and we call it Project Citizen, but I get to work on a program where we also teach people to recognize issues in their community and then learn how to solve those issues. It's at the local level where we have the most impact and the most touch points with government. It's local government and local organizations that are truly the civil society and the civically virtuous parts of our civil society that make the largest difference in our country. And I think that that's a beautiful and incredible piece. That's very American. That's a very American experiment, an experience.
Having good conversations that engage the public in thinking about these critical issues that we all are confronting. The issue is important, but it's not what's most important. It's that people learn how to deliberate and weigh options and make choices and decisions as citizens. Everyday folks will immediately take you back to their local issues. That's what's burning with them.
In the last 4 years, I've just been taken aback. I mean, I've been thinking a lot about what's not happening in social studies classrooms.
How we might create an opportunity to have conversations in the country that engage the public. We really meant everyday folks, public. And so I've been at that for 40 years.
The aims that I have for this academy are pretty simple, actually. They're simple yet pretty profound, I think. And that is, it's not about promoting, some grand vision of democratic theory. I'm excited about the experiential aspect of, issues aside, the issues do matter. But what I want my students to experience is helping the facilitation of 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds see what it's like just to engage in a kind of conversation that they may not have ever participated in before.